Thank you for joining my first Facebook Live teaching dining etiquette. I'm going to give a few more people some time to come on. So we're starting about 2 minutes. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you to my Facebook Live. I'm going to make this short and sweet. As my post said earlier, I received numerous messages regarding how to set their table. They wanted it to be pretty and set for Thanksgiving. So I decided, why not go ahead and do a quick tutorial on a basic dining setting. Now keep in mind, a table setting can be extremely elaborate. You can go from a 3-course meal all the way up to a 12 or 15-course meal. But today I'm only going to teach you how to set a 3-course meal, dining table for a 3-course meal. This should take maybe 15 to 20 minutes at most, hopefully. But I'm going to go as fast as I can. Over here, I've already set the table, but I want to show you the process of getting to that. And I always like to start with my foundation, because without a good foundation, everything else is going to crumble. So the first things first. Now, I did not use a tablecloth. I just did not feel like going through all my stuff. I have so much stuff, and I was not going to storage to pull out the real elaborate stuff. So I just decided to just use my wooden table and wipe it off, and we're going to go with that. But if you decide to use a tablecloth, remember, depending on whether it's going to be a formal table setting or an informal table setting, the tablecloth makes a difference. Whenever you're doing a formal table setting, you want the tablecloth to be white. Just across the board, just white. Now, when you want to get elaborate, it can be white with like embroidered white tablecloth or lace white tablecloth, something of that nature. But for a formal table setting, the tablecloth should always be white. And keep in mind, you do not want your tablecloth. I like mine to be long, but it should never touch the floor. It should never be it should never get past your knees. So say, for instance, if you're sitting down, if the tablecloth is below your knees, my opinion, that's it's too long, because you risk the chance of someone getting up, stepping on that tablecloth, and bringing everything on that table off. So I like when I'm doing a formal table setting, I use my white tablecloth, and it's always like to my knees. I measure it with my knees. So again, I'm not using a tablecloth. I just have my table, my basic table. Next thing is a charger. Now a charger is when my kids was born, growing up, they had placemats, just the little plastic placemats, rectangle you set on the table. And the placemat is simply just to protect the table from anything falling over. And also, if you're going to sit something hot on that table, the tablecloth protects the table from getting stained or burnt, or if it's wood, bubbled, anything like that. I'm going to use a charger. This is a charger. I normally use these or something similar to it, or you can use a dually. I like to call it a dolly. Dually, dolly, same thing. My grandma used to have the little lace dollies on her table when I was growing up. But today I'm going to use a mirror. It's really just a mirror, and I made it into a charger. So I'm going to use a round mirror for my charger. And as you see, I have it on both sides. Now again, remember I told you that I always like to have everything kind of set. So when I get ready to just go and start setting everything on the table, everything's already prepared. So I want to show you a napkin. Now there's different napkins to use when setting your table, depending on whether it's a snack napkin, a lunch napkin, or a dinner napkin. There's a difference in the napkins. This one here is a dinner napkin. That's another tutorial, or inbox me if you want me to teach you, go more in depth about the napkins. We're not going to do that. We don't have time. But this is a dinner napkin, and I'm going to show you briefly how to make something real simple to make the table look really cute. So you just have a square napkin, and you're going to take it and fold it to where it's a triangle. So it looks like this. Nowadays, you know, you see people wearing it as masks. So you wanted it to look just like that. And you're going to set it down, and then you're just going to roll the wide end. I hope you can see this. You're just going to roll it up. Roll, roll. Just roll it all the way till you get to the top of the pyramid. Now, as you see, I rolled it all the way up, and I just have my little tip sticking out of my pyramid. Now, what you want to do is you want to take one of your ends. Doesn't matter whether you left or right hand. It really doesn't matter. I'm left-handed, so I always naturally go for the left-hand side. So you're going to take your right finger and place it. Let me get a little closer so you can see it. Like, this is your tip. So place your finger right there and fold the tip of that napkin up so it's pointing straight up. And then you're just going to roll it like dough too. Roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, all the way down until you get to your pyramid. So I rolled it, and I'm at my pyramid. So this is where I'm at. I'm at the pyramid. When you get to the pyramid, you want to fold your pyramid down and roll over. Roll over. Just keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Make sure this is sticking straight up. Just roll all the way till you get to the end. And then you have your little piece here. You want to just tuck it either here somewhere on the side. Let me come a little closer so you can see it. So you either want to tuck it here, or you can tuck it underneath. Whichever way is completely preference. But as long as it's tucked and it's not coming loose, then you have your end result. There. That's your napkin. Let's just set that aside for now. So we have our charger. Remember, your charger should be 1 inch from the edge of the table. You can measure that by your finger. That first increase from the tip of your finger to the first crease is, you take your charger and you put it right there at the tip of your finger. And now it's 1 inch from the edge of the table. Very important. Very important. Everything is going to be 1 inch from the edge of the table. So this is our charger. Next, you have your dinner plate. Everything should be centered. So you want to make sure, do not let that plate be hanging over all the way down here or way over here, off here to the left, or all over here. It needs to be centered directly in the middle of your charger. Now, granted, you do not need a charger. It's preference. I love a charger when I'm setting my table. It just brings that little extra pop that I like to see when I'm setting my tables. So there's your dinner plate. And remember, this is going to be a 3-course meal. So I have my charger, my dinner plate, knock any of my stuff down and break it. So I'm just gonna take my time here. So charger, dinner plate, and whether you're having soup or salad, or soup and salad, that plate will sit on top of the dinner plate, the main entree plate. So you have your charger, your main entree, and your salad plate or soup bowl. And if you were having soup and salad, let me just get this. I didn't have it out. And this is just a bowl out of my cabinet. I am not going to leave it sitting here because it throws everything off. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what it would look like if you were having soup and salad with a main entree. It would kind of look like that, but it would be a prettier bowl. So, but again, this is only a three-course meal, so we don't need the bowl. So, now I'm going to keep going over as I go. Step by step. Charger, main entree, salad plate. Now, if you remember this, let me take a step back. To help you remember how to set a dining table, think of BD, bread and butter drinks. BD. Bread and butter drinks. That's a song that I created in my etiquette class for my students to help them remember. BD. Bread and butter drinks. Also, you want to remember forks. 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 That helps you set a complete table setting, no matter whether it's formal or informal. Forks. FORKS. The F is for the forks, which will be set on your left-hand side. Now I'm going to sit down. My dinner fork or my main entree fork is closest to the plates. The salad fork is further out, and I'm going to go over more of that once I have the table completely set. So remember, BD. Bread and butter drinks. Forks. 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 The F is for forks. The O will be for the plate or the charger. R is absolutely nothing. The K will be for the knife, which will go on the right side of the plate. Remember, everything 1 inch from the edge of the table. The blade of your knife should always be facing towards the plate. If it's facing out, it's kind of like hostile, and you risk the chance of someone cutting themselves because people really don't always pay attention when they're dining. They grab it, and you don't want, someone to touch the blade, and also it's unsanitary. So keep the blade going facing the plate, 1 inch from the edge of the table, and the blade should kind of be a little slightly up under your plate. Now that's preference. I like it slightly up under, not all the way under. You don't want it all the way under where you can't see it. Just so that the blade is slightly up under, especially if you have multiple course meals. Your utensils can go all the way. They'll be all the way out here, so you may need the room. So I always put my blade slightly up under my charger or my plate. BD. Bread and butter drinks. Forks. F is for the forks. O is for the plate and the charger. R is absolutely nothing. K would be for my knife. And the S will be for my spoon. S is for spoons. It goes directly next to the knife on the right hand side. Forks. 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 Now you can kind of see your table setting coming together. BD. Bread and butter drinks. BD. Bread and butter drinks. Bread and butter is on my left-hand side, which means my bread and butter plate is going to go on my left-hand side over the forks. That's my bread and butter plate. Or you may have a bread and butter, you may have a basket. It can be a basket. B, D, bread and butter drinks. So my bread and butter plate is going to go on the left-hand side over my forks. Now, this is preference. Some may tell you can use the same knife that's over here on the right-hand side that you're going to use for your dinner fork. With your dinner. But I like to have a separate fork for my butter. And that butter knife will go sit on the top of the bread and butter plate. Remember, the blade should be facing inward, not outward. So I'm going to come a little closer so you can see what I mean by that. So if this is your table setting and your bread and butter plate is over your forks, I will take my knife and place it across like this. Some people do it like this. That's still okay. But I place mine like this. Okay? So, there's your bread and butter. B, D. Bread and butter drinks. B, D. Bread and butter drinks. Now, here's where the drinks come in at. Now, that's another tutorial for the drinking glasses. I always like to have at least 2 drinking glasses on my table, no matter whether it's formal or informal. I just like it. The first goblet is going to go directly, it's going to go on the right-hand side, directly over your knife. The second goblet, I choose to put this one on the right-hand side over the spoon. Now, depending on your layout of how many courses you can have, you can end up having 5 or 6 goblets or glasses here. So you won't have room to have them coming all the way over here because you got to be mindful of people sitting next to you. So this may be all the space you have right here. You do not want to violate or intrude on anyone else's dining experience. So if that's the case, then you can simply take that glass and just put it at the top like that. And if it was a 3-course meal, if you want to have 3 goblets, then I'll just take this and use this one. Then you can have it like this. Now, it makes a difference. It makes a difference with how you set them and which glass is for what. The biggest goblet or bowl that you drink out of, glass goblet, should always be your water, because you should drink more water than you do anything. So your water goblet should be the biggest bowl in terms of a glass, and that sits, the water goblet sits over the fork. If for those of my wine drinkers, if you're drinking wine, your wine goblet goes next to your water goblet. Now, it makes a difference with the color of the goblets when you get into the type of wine that you're having. Red wine should always be served in a clear wine goblet. Any other wine can be served in any other color goblet, but red should always be served in a clear wine goblet. If we was having our water, red wine, and then a white wine, we would have our water goblet over the knife, our red wine goblet would go over the spoon, and then the white wine goblet would go right in front of like that. So just to reannuate, your water goblet goes over your knife, your red wine goblet goes over your spoon, and the white wine goblet goes either behind, or you can sit it right next to the red goblet, okay? The red wine goblet. So, B, D, bread and butter drinks. B, bread and butter dish. D, my drinks. Forks. F-O-R-K-S. Forks. That's a basic table setting. Now we're going to go a little bit further because I like to pop everything. Now I just always got to be, as my daughter say, you're just so extra. Yes, I am. Extra, extra. Read all about me. That is me. So, I like to, now this is optional. Oh, wait. Let me take a step back. Now, you also have another fork and another spoon for your three-course meal. Three-course meal consists of appetizer, soup and salad. I'm sorry. Soup and salad, main entree, and then your dessert. Appetizer could be considered a fourth course meal. Some say yes, some say no. Whenever I do it, it's always my fourth course meal because I'm always doing soup and salad, soup and or salad, my main entree, and a dessert. So, and with the appetizer, that's always 4 courses for me. Now, when you're having your dessert, you should have separate utensils. Another fork and or another spoon or both. My preference, because I love how it looks on my table, I like to have both. Even if I'm not having it, sometimes I'll put it just to trick someone, because if you know your dining etiquette and your table setting, you can tell exactly what you're about to have when you look at the table setting. So your fork and your dinner fork, and your dessert fork and dessert spoon should go at the top of your plate. The fork, the handle of the fork should be facing the right, and the handle of the spoon should be facing the left. The handle of the fork should be facing the left. The handle of the spoon should be facing the right. And you place the fork on top of the spoon and just set it right there. So you got B, D, bread and butter drinks, and your dessert at the top. Forks, F for the fork, O for the plate and the charger, R is absolutely nothing, K is my knife, S is my spoon. I have my drinks over here to my right hand side. This would tell me that I'm having just some basic water and a wine. Now, because I deal with students, of course, naturally we don't have alcoholic beverages, so I always get them sparkling, what is it called? You know, the sparkling water or the sparkling little juice. And that's what they have in theirs, just to give them the experience. Remember, everything that you do should always be an experience to the person that you're doing it for. So, let me just go back. So we have our salad fork is on the outer part of my left-hand side. Then I have my dinner fork. Then I have my charger, which my plate, my dinner plate, and my salad plate is set on top of it. To the right of that, I have my knife and my soup spoon. That's what I wanted to get to. The soup spoon. It's not always, some people use the same spoon that they're going to use a dessert for or whatever. And sometimes this spoon is never used at all. It's just sitting there for decoration. But you can always tell a soup spoon because the bowl of the spoon should be a little deeper and a little wider, like a little more of a curve going that way. Now, again, that's another tutorial if you want me to go deeper into the utensils of dining etiquette. So, B, D, bread and butter drinks. F, O, R, K, S. Another one you can use is BMW, which would be bread and butter for the B. M would be for your meals, and W would be for your water or your wine. I never use BMW. I like to use B, D, bread and butter drinks, because that's our song. Now, remember I told you that I like to pop everything off. I'm a popper and a blinger. Even if I'm not serving coffee or tea afterwards, I like to always top my table off with my coffee cup right on the right-hand side next to my spoon. Remember, 1 inch from the edge of the table, everything always. So I have my coffee cup as well as my my coffee cup with the saucer on the right hand side. B, D, bread and butter drinks. Now, whether you're gonna have separate salt and peppers, I always set out salt and peppers. It's like a little popper for me. I always do it, and I like each individual to have their own. But this is the one that's normally sitting on my table, because my table is always set all the time. And when I'm having guests over, each guest have their own individual salt and pepper, and that can simply just go either preference, up at the top or over at the side, depending on your layout. Now, one thing I need to take a step back that I did not do and I did this purposely because I didn't know if you would be able to see as I set the table. Centerpiece. There should always be a centerpiece when you're setting your table, because that's kind of like the face. That's the gatcha, like that brings the attention to your table. Now, I did, where did I set it? Normally I have this sitting on my table. This is my everyday centerpiece for my dining table. But I can't use that when I'm have guests over for dinner, when I'm entertaining, because you have to remember your centerpiece should never be taller than the person's eye view across from them. So if I'm sitting down, if you can't see that person in front of you, then your centerpiece is too high. So for educational purposes, I went and got just this little simple red bowl, and I love pancettas, but it's a fake one. You should not have anything at your table that has a scent or a smell to it, because the only thing they should be smelling when they're sitting at this table is the delicious food. So never have a scented candle, never have real flowers, because again, you don't want anything to interfere with the aroma of the food. So I'm gonna move this over just until we're finished. Candles. A lot of people like to set their tables with candles, and that's good. Oh, let me just top that off with, I'm sorry, there's your napkin. That's okay to have your candles on your table, but just a little FYI, the how they came about with candlelight dinner back in the day was because that was their only source of light. So they had to use candles at dinner time. Now, if you choose to use candlelight dinner, you should only use it if that's going to be your only source of lighting. So if you want a romantic evening, then, go ahead and set the candles around. If not, I would say don't do it unless you just want it for decoration purposes. But what's the point, especially if you're going to have other things that can be more beautiful and bring your table out. So I only use my candlelight dinner when I'm, trying to get my life with my guy, or trying to make it a more intimate type setting with my good girlfriends, and we dimming the lights or something like that. Other than that, when I'm entertaining in that way, I never use my candles. So this is going to be my table setting, and this is basically how you set a table. I like to thank everyone for joining me. I know I may have been a little bit all over the place. This was so short notice, but I did realize that I missed this. Like, etiquette is it's not just a thing to me. It's a lifestyle. It's really who I am, what I do, what I practice. So I'm gonna do more of these. If you like what you're seeing here, like in the comments. If there's something else that you would like me to go more in depth in, then please, reach out to me. My website is www.3phases.info. That's the number 3, PHASES.info. And I'm always doing classes, whether it's online or, I can't come to you. So everything is Zoom, but this is basically how we would do it. But I'm I may come to you live again tomorrow. I'm not really sure. It may be all over the place. But again, thank you for coming out and learning how to set this table. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, inbox me. Love you all. Remember, today is the day to be thankful for no matter what you got. Even if your dinner today is going to be Roman noodles, thank God for your Roman noodles, because someone out there don't even have that. So I say just be thankful for the big as well as the small, for the good as well as the bad, for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And always, except never, remember to, girl, get your life. Love you all. Take care.